condemning her. I am condemning you. For the simple reason, George, when you say to me that she should be called into account because she knows full well that is where you've condemned her. George, she does not know full well. There is a situation known as puerperal neurosis. There's a condition known as postnatal psychosis. If you don't understand those, then don't go condemning her. Those are conditions where she knows nothing about what she's doing. She's just moving on automatum. And she will hold that same baby that she gave birth to and slam it against the wall. That is not deliberate, like say, well, I hate this baby, I'm going to kill it. You must first begin to understand what is really postnatal psychosis. Now, I'm sure you did no interview with her to know whether or not she suffered that. And therefore, you are not in any position to sit in a seat of judgment. Neither do I, because I don't know what the experts, the psychiatrists and psychologists and whatnot would have gathered in any interview with her. I don't know that, and therefore I cannot go making those gross assumptions. I can't even say that she was suffering postnatal psychosis because I did not interview her. But except we've got all that information, we cannot sit in the seat of judgment. My take on it. I am forgiving you because...
nothing to forgive me for. If somebody was to walk in and hear your comment, you know what? They will not believe, they will never understand what I just said. I rejected outright that I condemned the lady. It is wrong to say that I condemned the lady. I know it. That is your opinion, is a cause of condemnation. Calling people to account is not condemning a person for action.
But George,
let you finish and let you talk. That is your opinion. You see that as a condemnation of the person. However, I know about these post conditions that people go through all the time at times. When and in fact, there's also a precondition while they are pregnant. They have certain kinds of behavior too. What people will tell you plain about it, what this individual have done. Now, I stated clearly that we don't know how first of all, I talked about even the father. In all of this, no one mentioned anything about the father. Once you establish that she was well aware of what she was doing, and in all reports, there was nothing suggested so far that she suffered what you have talked about, this post-traumatic psychosis or whatever you call it. I heard the word before, but I'm not something that a term that I'm accustomed to. I use it regularly. There's nothing suggested so far that is what she suffered. What suggested so far, she gave a specific reason why she would have taken such action. It was clearly stated the reason why she would have abandoned the child. She did not abandon the child because she suffered some post-traumatic or post-disorder or something. That was not, and until that is established, I will change my view. It seems, and from all evidence come out, that she do this as action was only because of economic situation. That is what came out of it so far. And until that change, then I change my opinion.
George?
Yes.
The report you read in the paper, who gave the reason? A doctor did? The police did? Who gave the reason that it was economic pressure? Who gave that reason?
The most important person, the person who actually abandoned the child when they picked up on her. That is what she stated, and as a matter of fact, it was not her first child. She had 8 children. And that's every indication lead. So that was the reason. That abandonment was because of her economic situation. And I tell you, up until that change, now I can tell you there's a lot of professionals came out and said that she should not be punished, but she should be helped. And my disagreement is, I agree she should be helped, but with calling to account for her action, combine the two. And until any report comes out that she was suffering some post disorder, stress, or whatever it is, I will change my view. And until it comes out that she was not aware of what she was doing, I will change my view. Because there was no way anyone could say that I passed judgment and condemnation on such an individual. I did not do that. When you ask for somebody when you call for somebody to account for their actions, that is not condemning a person. That is not condemning them. Asking a person to be responsible is not condemning. That could never be.
George?
I'm listening.
If somebody is suffering, if, not I've used the word if, because I have not met her, I have not interviewed her, and therefore George, would you please let me make the point I'm making? George, I am saying if the girl were suffering from that, would you call her to account for her actions?
Of course not, and I thought I just said
therefore, George, therefore, since I am not in a state where I can say she was or was not, I would not get here and say she should be called into account. She may not even be aware of what was going on, although it seems so to the lay person. If a man is suffering from, wait a minute, George. If someone is suffering from epilepsy, there is something known as the epileptic furor. After that person has had the fit, they will get up and walk around, and they would be totally unaware of their environment, although you see them moving around. Are you going to tell them then, well, you know you ought not to have done that? Done what? They don't even know what you're talking about at that phase. So all I'm saying is, until the professionals can come and state what her case really was, I am in no position to say she should be brought should be called to account. Let the professionals tell me whether or not she was in a state that she could even understand what you're saying. Never mind what she is telling you. You know the amount of people who lead a conversation with you and it sounds so reasonable and they are hallucinating? You see, you must first understand mental disorders before you can run and make such outrageous statements about she should be brought to account. She should be told that this thing has a consequence. You do this to somebody who is aware, and there are people who are conscious but unaware of their environment. You must understand mental illness.
And I'm telling you, there is no evidence so far from anyone.
Have you heard from any psychiatrist on the matter?
No.
Or you just heard from the police? Whom did you hear from?
Both from the police and a few social workers involved. Listen to me. Let me tell you something, John. The first thing they would have done with such an individual after locating her is that take her to a professional. I am telling you, there is no report so far that this individual suffered with some post disorder.
Who was the professional?
If that was
police officers are professionals.
If that was the case, let me tell you, it have a lot of professionals in our police service here. I can tell you that. Let me tell you something.
But you are not psychiatrist. A magistrate on the bench is not a psychiatrist, and he sends the patient. He sends the magistrate if a case comes before him, and he even looks the lady like this man is a madman. He sends that person in his wisdom to the psychiatrist for a report, and the magistrate is a professional. But a professional in what? Is he a professional in psychiatry? He couldn't give evidence.
I think your response is totally out of order or if not fair, because I don't know if you're really responding appropriately to what I'm saying to you. I am telling you, when such an individual would have been located, especially since the public would have been calling for help for such an individual, and let me tell you this much, she have not been charged yet. That is to tell you, and I am most sure that she is seeking professional help. And I want to tell you, there is no indication so far, but there is a lot of sympathy for her. Not any report, because the matter is still fresh in the news, that this person has suffered any post disorder. If there was any evidence, and I am sure by now, she would have gone to counseling and she would have seen a professional. I have stated this quite early on. From all indication, all evidence put so far, all reports. As a matter of fact, a number of prominent social workers with psychiatric background came out in defense of the lady even before they had located her.
Before they had located her. What were their assessment on if they had not yet located her? How did they assess her since they had not yet located her? How did they assess her?
I never said they assess her. What are you saying that? I said they come out in defense of her.
But you can't come out in defense of somebody until you have actually seen and assessed the person.
You could, because you just came. You agree that you are in defense of the person right now when you have not seen them and assessed them.
I am not in defense of her.
Yes,
I am saying that I cannot sit in the seat of judgment. I am not defending her. I never.
John,
I am not defending her. I'm accusing her. I am saying that I am in no position to give any assessment on the matter because I have not interviewed her. And therefore I can't. I hear yes, but I have not yet.
I don't understand you. I don't understand you because if someone is calling for sympathy and leniency on someone, how is that assessing? I never said anyone assess her. What are you saying that no one is in a position
but
to assess?
George, workers cannot go in there and make a case for anyone, and they are when they have not yet assessed the case. You're talking about gooder, not a social worker. A social worker don't operate on emotions.
John. You are doing and then saying somebody shouldn't do it. What you are doing there is what you say somebody shouldn't do.
I am speaking as a social worker. I'm not speaking as me being emotional. All social workers have to follow a particular.
But you just told me that no one can. You You told me that I should not condemn her when I did not even condemn her.
But you are
Did
saying
you
that.
not told me that? Didn't you not told me that? Didn't you not told me I should not condemn her when I did not even condemn her? Did you not told me that?
Condemn her.
What?
Because if you're saying that she should be brought to account, knowing full well that what she did was wrong, you are condemning her. You don't know whether or not she suffered postnatal psychosis. You don't know that, and you're saying that she should be brought to account, knowing full well what she did was wrong.
And I'm saying, John, by calling for somebody to account for something they do is not condemnation. You are totally wrong about that. We are going to grow. You can hold that view. You can hold that view. That is ridiculous. That is bordering on ridiculous. Secondly, let me finish. Secondly, you said that the social workers that I have mentioned who was calling for leniency, they should not do that because they have not said something.
They have assessed the case. And since communities before they even saw it could not be an assessment. An assessment is after you've seen the case, looked at all the things, put them together, and come up with an official report.
It's so wrong. So what are you saying? What is so wrong for calling for leniency on someone? They are called for leniency.
Not leniency until you have seen the case and you know, well, why are you calling for leniency? What if they assess it now and discover that is something totally different? They're going to say, oh, don't worry with the leniency, no, she did it purposely. They have got to take the case first. You don't just go and do things because you're a human being and let me sympathize with you or let me empathize. You take the case on its merit and you have to assess the situation.
John, I don't know, it really seems to be contradictory tonight because you are defending disagreement. I don't know, it really seems to be contradictory because I am telling you that they have called for leniency on this individual that said that she should not be punished, but be helped, get help. And I said my disagreement that she should get the boat. You disagree with me for saying that. You also disagree with the individuals who was calling for leniency in her. Somebody calling for leniency and somebody is not assessing. That don't mean that is not an assessment. Tell me what they should have done. Tell me what does you? Okay,
nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong with the humanitarian aspect of saying, all right, judging from what we hear. But if the social worker goes in there and assesses her, looks at her past history, looks at the situation in which she lives, and put those things together, then the social worker is in a position to state clearly this woman is either totally unaware of what she did, it was diminished responsibility because of her mental state, or she was just,
but you know,
they are then in a position to say that, but until you told me that they had not yet seen her.
I know you really contradict because I told you earlier on when I script my position how I feel. You
don't talk about how the workers don't talk
listen
about.
To me, yes, I have a right to state how I feel. I have a right of opinion.
Shut up, I remember.
You also, what you're expressing there's an opinion too. So you can't tell me you're not expressing it. When I give my opinion on the situation after hearing about it, you went off on me and tell me that she could be suffering some traumatic post disorder and all these kinds of a thing, and I did not know, and I shouldn't condemn her. When I did not even condemn her, you said that I expressed an opinion, asking for somebody to call for account is condemnation. Well, if you want to say that, let's stay disagreeable at that. That is not condemning.
Well, then anytime that I say that person should be called to account, I am already assuming that they are guilty. I am assuming that they are guilty. If they're not guilty, you don't call them to account. And you are assuming that she is guilty. What is that other than an accusation or condemnation?
I am saying that just because she was aware because I told you from the time this would have come out, if this individual had any post-disorder or traumatic traumatic experience that would have caused her to not think clearly of what she was doing. Yeah. We will have known by now. I am telling you, from all evidence come out. And the socials, let me tell you something. The police service in Trinidad and Tobago has a good, if it's up, sometimes they don't operate it well, but they have a good social system. In a case like this, there's one particular individual I can call, which is, I think she's a lieutenant, I can't remember her rank, Samson Brown, who was very sensitive to these issues. They would have called in a professional right away. And I think that this individual was at the top of this matter. And this individual, this police officer, sees matters like this all the time, deals with this, have experiences in these matters. I have not heard any issue, I have not anything up to now that would have suggested to me that this individual abandoned this child other than economics. But I didn't want to stop there. I wanted to go and find the father. What was the situation with the father? I just don't want to stop there on the individual. I said clearly I don't know the individual. I have the understanding of what I was talking about. Still, it is not my duty to condemn her, but you said that I make her guilty by asking her to account. But I think we have some emails, and I wanted to really move on to some other topics that we would have discussed in the past tonight. So I don't know if the emails comes in that.
Yes, I have an email here from Karen. Yeah, Karen has sent us an email. Thank you, Karen. Let me read Karen's email. The lady should be helped, but at the same time, she should face consequences to improve her responsibility. In my opinion, she seems to be financially stable because the papers highlighted her expensive clothing. You take that.
Okay. Now, Carolyn is now put some new. Now, let me see.
Karen.
Sorry, Karen. Sorry. Right, Karen basically saying the same thing. She should have been helping us, but who she should be held responsible for her actions. Now, when she says she would have looked at her expensive clothing and see that it would have indicated that her economic situation was not as gloomy as how the public would have interpreted by abandoning the baby. It puts a different spin on this. The investigation should now focus on her lifestyle to find out if she were mentally stable and she was not suffering, and I said if, she was not suffering any post-disorder here. One will now have to look at the question whether she was not a reason for abandoning the child, and this is all speculation. A reason for abandoning the child would have been abandoning this responsibility so I can have a free time. Having a baby now is just going to tie me down or keep me back in some way, so it's best thing to do is abandon this child. Now, again, this is speculation however, what also you have to take into consideration that she was aware of what she was doing. She went into hiding. She did not walk and give up herself. She didn't went back home as usual. Normally, if a person would have done something like that and was not aware of this, They would have walked home like normal. They would have walked back home to the house. They would not have been trying to stay away from the public or hide or whatever. They would have been, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, they would have been just like normal. They would not have been, they would have go home like normal, walk the street as normal, talk to people as normal, because they wasn't aware of what they was doing. I don't think they would have tried for the public not to locate them. They took a while before they locate this individual. Yes, let me hear your take on this.
George, if someone is suffering from a bipolar situation in psychiatry, what we would refer to as manic depressive, in the manic phase, they can wear silk and satin in the field to cut canes. Silk and satin. Their appearance is no determinant of their financial status. And in the depressed state, that person can totally neglect their hygiene and be very unkempt, smelly, and walk the streets looking like the proverbial something the dog dragged in. The same individual, but they're bipolar. I am saying to you that... Go ahead.
This individual, from all indication, was, and I keep stating this to you, fully aware of their actions. If there was any evidence that this person was not aware of their actions, my attitude or opinion about the situation would have been different. Okay? A person in a situation like that, I am telling you, John, will have abandoned the baby, do something, and they will have go back home. They want to try to stay away or anything. From the time this report come out, they would, and all this sort of thing. This person would not have tried to see how long they would not be trying to see, well, if they wouldn't catch up with me. By that behavior tells me that person was fully aware of what they're doing. If, again, for some reason, she had suffered any post disorder, she was not aware of the situation, my opinion would have been different.
Shall I read the next email?
Oh yes, certainly.
Okay. The next email is from Monkey Apple. Monkey, let me wish you all the best of the new year. And thank you for your email. Monkey Apple says, some people need negativity and emotional pain to fuel their motivation and strength. You take that.
He's not wrong. Trust me, do you know there are individuals like that? Is that disputable? We have all kinds of strange and unusual individuals in this place. And people do things that you would not even imagine. Trust me on that, he may not be wrong at all.
That's the last email.
Yeah, I don't know how you feel about that. And he said some people, he didn't say people do that. Right? And
that's the last email.
Yeah. No, how do you feel about what Monkey Apple said?
I kind of agree with him. I certainly don't
Okay,
agree
well,
with you.
all right.